All right, what's up, everybody, guys? We got a little mic hiccup on T minus negative 30 seconds to go live here. So Jason will be joining me in just a second when he's able to get that sorted. But welcome to night shift number 50, guys. 50 shifts in a row. I can hardly believe it. We have come so far. And Jason, okay. His mic's working now. He's back and joining me, of course,
back
for our European night shift here.
I might have to change some settings. This is why you never tell someone to fix their audio settings literally T minus 10 seconds until we come back on air. Completely fluffed it on my side, but it seems like we're okay. We'll see if things are going to work out because it's a special show here, Jake. We're 2 away from an entire year, but we hit the big 5-0. I feel like we get the senior citizen discount now here on Twitch with the night shift.
I mean, you said it, not me, Young, but we're going to have to get into these games quickly as possible.
Okay.
Sorry, slow-hanging fruit. I had no choice but to slam that one down.
You know, I was going to be nice to you because I tried being really nice and trying to make DDK like me and giving him so many compliments. I was going to be like, if you guys didn't realize, Jake wasn't here last week and there was a reason. He was at EWC. Now, officially, he was there to cast some Overwatch, but unofficially, he was there to sit down with the main guy from EWC and talk about some Deadlock. And he pulled him aside. He's like, hey, Unk. And you kind of I swear I had that in my plan in my head already. You kind of used the word earlier. He's like, Deadlock, what's happening? And the guy's like, I got you. So I feel like it's Deadlock confirmed at EWC next year. And Jake made that happen. So thank you so much, Jake, for making the game we love here. If it does happen,
I will take credit, but none of that is true. So just disclaimer. But yeah, I mean, I hope to see, Deadlock up in lights in all the biggest esports shows of the year. Why not Esports World Cup? It's a pretty fun trip this year. I went and casted Overwatch. Always a good time, this time in Paris.
Well, there's also something special about the show here today, Jake. Not only is it number 50, but we have I don't even know what we call it. Something special that we can just flip to here because all of us know about it except you. And I want to get your honest reaction to when you see it because show 50. Hopefully it happens. I don't want to give out any more information until it pops up on screen. Hopefully it's ready right now. I'm hoping that Solomon, the man with the plan who always seems to make things happen quickly, Tetsuo, putting $3,000 in the prize pool here for show number 50.
Dude, insane support, Tetsuo. This is one of those supporters who's been around probably since the beginning, right? It feels like for a long time. I'm always seeing that name, but $3,000 is insane. And honestly, it's beautiful that we're able to do a $5,000 prize pool. That's amazing. Like, really, thank you so much, Tetsuo. And I know the players are going to be super stoked to have this. Can't formally announce it. We also have some upcoming, potentially some larger prize pools, TBD soon. But it's amazing to have this here on a shift as auspicious as number 50.
I did get confirmation, by the way, from production that if you use the word stoked, you were also an unk. So unfortunately, I got some bad news for you, Jake.
No, I'm just from Southern California, bro. No. Stoked is I'm never stopping saying stoked. I don't care if it makes me unk. I don't care.
So is my version of stoked hella? Because that's the word we always use.
Hella. Yeah. That's okay. Like East Coast. All right. That's the East Coast.
I don't like this. Can we bring Dan back here? I don't like being made fun of for being old here. But once again, a big shout out to Tetsuo for making that happen, man. 5K in the prize pool this week is going to be crazy. And the thing is, players didn't know about this. It's not like they knew before the show, so they could be extra prepared. This happened like 5 minutes on the countdown. So the players are going to be seeing this. Hopefully some extra pressure for them. But if you're just joining us for the very first time here on the night shift, well, first of all, welcome. Let's actually dive into the format so you guys can learn about what we are here at the night shift, a grassroots event meant to bring you the best games from the best teams every single Wednesday night. And to kick things off, we have EU starting off with Abraham's taking on Leviathan. And I have to say this, Jake, Leviathan looked much better last week than we had seen before. Hopefully something has finally clicked within this roster. And of course, the winner will go on to take on last week's champions of Buff Enjoyers.
Yeah, always exciting in EU. These 3 teams have really emerged as a solid trifecta at the very top of their game in EU. But it feels like as time goes on, it gets only more and more competitive, where it really feels like anybody can win on any given week. Although Buff Enjoyers, I'm just always incredibly impressed with their strategic sense of the game, the way they draft. So definitely good to see them in the finals. Excited, Jason, to cast some EU. I've been on NA for a hot sec, but I'm always interested to see what's cooking over here in Europe.
Yeah, I think it must have been North America because Dan has been over in Copenhagen working on some Counter-Strike. So we put him on the EU schedule with me. The EU caster's on EU and NA cast on NA. Kind of makes sense. But before we get into the NA matches, we of course are going to have our challenger match here, a Pulsar up against Popper's Pupils. And then Melee Creeps, who finally had a breakthrough last week. Obviously some big switch ups in their roster as well. Able to take down Popper's Pupils and claim the title for themselves. But can they do it once again? Is going to be another question to be asked because there's a lot of good teams out here. And it feels like, honestly, in these regions, teams are getting a lot closer, and considering we're having almost 3 mappers every single region, every single week, shows that these teams are really close between each other.
I mean, the scene is really maturing, right? I think like the time of teams going on these obscene, 20-week win streaks, it feels like that's over. I just can't imagine anyone ever being able to do that again. But honestly, it's for the best, right? You'd rather it be competitive. You'd rather it be close. It's great to see some of these teams stabilizing. I think Melee Creeps is going to just be such a fan favorite squad, right? With some of the new players they brought in, some of the legacy of that team in the past, as I think our longest win streaker was theirs, or theirs was longer than Abrams, right? I believe the Melee Creeps has to have the record on that one. So it might be a trophy they hold for some time as well, if they can maybe put up a few more wins here in NA finals. Definitely excited for that. That'll be after, of course, our EU show concludes.
Not to mention what's exciting for tomorrow at the exact same time here today. You guys also can tune into the Graveyard Shift podcast, brand new, revamped, where every week on Thursday it is, well, it's Lightbringer and some other people. It depends on who's available that week to be on the show to talk about everything related to Deadlock, and of course about the night shift matches that happened just this week. And if I'm not mistaken, tomorrow, Jake, is going to be you, Lightbringer, and potentially a new person as well.
Yeah, it will be myself and Lightbringer. We'll see, who else comes. ZP is actually going to finally take a vacation for once. This guy just like lives to work on Deadlock, but we've got him out of the house. He's going to take a vacation. So me and Lightbringer will be holding it down on the podcast. So check that out every Thursday. It's going to be something we're going to keep doing going forward. It'll be live here on Twitch. And you can also catch, of course, the VOD on YouTube later. Shout out, by the way, Chrysanta, 14 gifted subs.
Hey.
Impressive for Chrysanta 14. It fits too perfectly. Another one of our really longtime supporters. Really amazing, guys. Like, to be honest, we wouldn't be here at Shift 50, right, without so many of the people in the community who have like supported the show. Everybody who's here watching every week, telling their friends about it, getting people into Deadlock, right? Like, we would just cease to exist without all of you guys. So really, this is your show as much as it is ours, and I'm really proud, Jason, that we've made it to 50. But hey, let's go for 100 now. Like, that's like, okay. Why not, man? Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, why not, man? And I do have to say something. I feel a little bit bad because last week, I know you weren't here. Chrysanta 14 donated 14 subs like they always do, and I said 10. Why not just get 14 and be on brand? and now they're doing 14. So I feel kind of bad. I'm sorry, Chrysanta. You can just do 10. It's okay. You don't have to do the 14.
Just up into yeah, please support us 40% more than you already are. Yeah, no, I mean, anything is super appreciated, guys. Those who are able to support us on Patreon, it's amazing. It's like the best way to directly support. But the subs, just watching every week, turning off ad block, it all makes a difference, guys. I promise. I'm managing the business. It all moves the needle and all lets us do more shows, bigger prize pools, bigger events for the community, for the players, and for Deadlock esports as a whole. But that's enough waxing poetic, enough emotional stuff. We got to get moving, Jason. We got to get into some action.
I mean, we're talking Patreon, right? We got to go quickly check out our supporters here. I know you want to move on from this one, but like you were saying before, this could not happen without your guys' support. It looks like, I'm assuming here, that the gold letters, the gold names, means new supporters.
New executives?
And I'm not being told no. So I think, Jake, like in tradition, we always say one name per person. So we want to give a shout out to. I feel like it's kind of obvious here for us, and I'm going to give my shout out here to Alex Cohen.
I got to go for Jake McCune, a couple new executives, guys. Huge thanks to all the patrons at any level. This is like I said, the best direct way to support. We just put all this money right back into the shows, prize pools for the players, putting on a fully professional broadcast for everybody. So thank you so much, of course, to our patrons. You can support us. You can check out that link right there if you're interested. Otherwise, just enjoy the show. No expectations. We really just appreciate anything people are able to do. Prime subs, by the way, click your Prime sub button. You have to say that because there's always at least one more Prime sub available in the chat. It's just always the case.
Yeah, and obviously you don't have to donate. Just sitting here watching is enough, unless you're Chrysanta 28, which I'm going to contact Twitch to get your name changed for you. And you know what that means next week? No, I'm just kidding, guys. But yeah, any support, whether it's monetary or just being here every week, even if you have ad blocker on, is greatly appreciated by us. But obviously, turn the ad blocker off. It helps us out here. But let's move into the show, Jake, because obviously that's where we wanted to go before. And we do have a Battle of the Kings here, the Battle of the Titans over in Europe, with Abraham's taking on Leviathan once again. Let's take a look here at Abraham's roster, and it pretty much is the exact same team almost every single week. But something I have to say, because I think you have missed out on last week, is that Shark has massively improved and has, I feel like,
He was looking great a couple weeks ago, right when he came back in. He was looking really solid. I feel like, honestly, for a team like Abraham's to bring you on board, like they're not going to be taking on a player who can't pull their weight. So Shark certainly earned this spot and is showing it in the night shift, performing here in the big matches. So definitely excited to see his continued improvement here. But man, EU is getting tough, like with Leviathan looking better, with Buff Enjoyers on top. Abraham's, they're a phenomenal squad. I always feel like there's a chance for them to grab these wins, to take home some of that cash. And especially this week with, I guess, 2,500 in the EU prize pool, that's going to be a spicy one.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of extra pressure for these teams and something they need to get used to going on forward as well across Deadlock in its future esports, man. There's going to be bigger and better prize pools coming down the line with major events. So this is a time to really get acclimated to that position. I did want to say one thing, though, about Shark before we fully move on, is that I feel like he's been finally put in a role where he can excel. Thinking back to the Buff Enjoyers team, obviously he kind of played a selfless role. He played a lot of like Momo and Krill, played a lot of Warden when it wasn't necessarily like a carry hero. But it feels like he's been put more towards some of these carry heroes. We can actually make bigger impacts in these games. And I like to see the change up out of Abraham's, kind of not force the Shark to play the role they want him to, but allowing the team to change around the role that he can fulfill within the team. And I think that's a really good sign for them. But one bad sign, Jake, is if he's bringing up, as he was doing a watch party of the Dead Chapter tournament over the weekend, is that Leviathan did 3-0 Abraham's. Or was it 2? They beat him. Let's just say that. They beat him. As we'll take a look here at Leviathan's roster. And Leviathan, I've been saying, they've been looking better week in and week out. It feels like something this last week has clicked. But a lot of that, in my opinion, was due to one player in particular. When we see the roster swap here in a second, it's Captain. Playing Mo and Krill last week was disgusting. He was very frustrating to deal with. Him and Irizumi on the holiday, they kept Buff Enjoyers on the back foot for quite a majority of the game. They had like a really decent like 20k lead, but eventually did falter when Buff Enjoyers finally hit the point where their comp would outscale Leviathans. But this team as well, with the pickup of Captain, has been looking pretty solid.
Yeah, definitely a strong player. Excited to see how he performs in the roster. And yeah, with some recent history looking good for Leviathan, I mean, there's always a chance for this team. I feel like, honestly, have seen this team come together. They feel like they were kind of underperforming, frankly, in the night shift for a while, right? It was like these lot of really sick names that we've seen take home the win, be top players in NS. And, I'm not surprised to see that, hey, maybe they are rising through the ranks, kind of hitting their stride as they acclimate to one another. Because, I mean, a lot of these names, legendary, right, in the space. Pretty much all of these guys have been at the very top. And like you said, a couple newer players like Captain can maybe make the difference and push them over the line. Definitely a spicy one. But Abraham's up first. Like, you can never guarantee a win. Obviously, they're thinking about, hey, maybe we can beat Buff Enjoyers, we can go on to the final, but it's a BO1 to start us off. So a lot comes down to this opening draft. And I do feel like the game right now has a bit of wiggle room, a bit of creativity for different ways to play, different ways to approach the meta after some recent patches. So I'm really curious to see what EU is cooking. I've been watching NA, getting more comfortable with the meta there. But always I feel like EU brings a special twist and honestly pushes the pace, I think, with a lot of these early game drafts.
Now, I don't know if we have the Mo and Krill 1v1 ready, but if we don't, can we actually take a look at last week's hero priority? Because I think that might be important to look at here to get you guys in the right headspace of what might be coming today. Because Mo and Krill started to see some play and actually started to see some bans as well, which he's been out of everything for months. It feels like here you can see him being banned out twice, picked once, mostly when it came over to EU with Leviathan, and then going into the Buff Enjoyers matchup against Abraham's. But definitely something that's moving up the leaderboard a bit. Obviously, the change when it came to being able to use abilities or use items, when you're comboing did push him up the meta a little bit. Will he stay there? Honestly, I'm not so sure.
Just
making it hard mode for you, Jake. Don't worry.
I'm curious to see, how things shake out this week. I do think, you're always going to be, there's always that opening decision of the draft, which for me right now is kind of Doorman, Billy, Mirage, and Pocket, like these heroes. I guess Calico was also going in that, top 1 slot last week quite a bit too. But there's always, I think there's like enough heroes at this like super S tier right now where it's actually not almost guaranteed how the draft opens. And I do think that maybe makes room for some of these, less popular heroes in the meta. So excited to see things looking a little healthier, a little more balanced last week as compared to a couple weeks ago. Excited to see Abrams getting picked more. I feel like this character is just always going to look pretty good. But I think we have that Mo and Krill 1v1 ready for y'all so we can find out the draft priority and potentially get into the match. It's going to be Together versus DMOV. Once teammates, now foes. battle for the draft supremacy here.
I feel like we need to create like a special night shift arena for them to fight in instead of on the default map, as it looks like D-Mall's been parried quite a few times. And honestly,
it's got to be
I don't think he'll come back from this.
Yeah, the back-to-back parry, it just puts you so deep in the hole. You know, you've got to be so risky looking for your own parry. So it's a good attempt, but still, it's going to be a well played there in the Mo 1v1. And now the draft priority. Let's see what they end up picking. Do they want to go first or second pick? Even that, I don't know. I mean, I feel like first pick does feel pretty strong right now with just how good, especially for me, Billy and Doorman are. But we see teams go Mirage and NA, so we'll see what's actually the prio here in EU. I feel like EU's going to want these more team fight centric heroes as the top prio.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, it'd actually be really interesting if anyone out there, because I know there's a lot of people who watch who do their own little versions of like our pick priority and stuff like that. But I would love to see, since we have an execute on our side, is like an EU versus NA pick priority and see where the priorities differ between the regions, because it's been like 2 years now of competitive Deadlock, and we've seen it adapt and change over time. But generally, NA and EU do have pretty diverse priorities when it comes to specific heroes. I think over in EU, you see Billy as definitely like the first pick quite consistently. If it's not Pocket, if we see it available, but typically coming in like as a 1-2 pick. But EU for sure, more of the team fighting, more of the control as well around the map. But when it comes into this matchup, I honestly don't know, because there is a level of like, you know what's strong in the meta, but there's also, we played each other so many times. I'm sure you've experienced in your career as well, Jake, that, you know, your match against a specific team that you played for 2 years now does change maybe your draft or your play style a little bit, because you know how they play inside and out.
Yeah, exactly. And these teams are all going to be pretty familiar with one another. They're probably all each other's biggest scrim partners. So there's definitely going to be tons of mind games, tons of experience. But I think honestly, the difference in the metas between the regions is kind of a testament to the game balance, in that, you know, as much as people love to balance wine and people always find a reason for it, that things are actually pretty open to teams and their creativity, their comfort on certain heroes, what they think they can pull off. It's also cool to see, you know, niche picks. Like for me, I love seeing Dynamo get played at the highest level. I just think it's such an interesting character, you know, in these crazy team fight potential and yeah, in particular. So I'm happy to see a meta where we're getting a lot of heroes played, a lot of diversity, especially at this moment when I think everyone's kind of waiting for, hey, when's the next big content drop coming? Which, you know, everyone's kind of expecting it to be sooner rather than later.
Let me pick your brain a little bit, because we do have a second while the draft is still being like finalized here between the teams. When it came to playing professionally in Overwatch, obviously coming from North America, you played a lot of like the NA meta, right? What I'm mostly curious about is when you played like in international events and you played against other regions, or you went to another region and you practiced and stuff like that, would that change the way then you played back in North America, or would you go like back to the North American style? Like I'm curious the influence of other regions, because what I'm ultimately getting to is, with these diverse priorities between each region right now, will that change when they finally do meet at a LAN and then NA brings home EU or EU brings home NA?
I mean, it's interesting. Like Overwatch, I think, is actually a pretty decent comparison in that way, in terms of like what strategy is seen across regions. But actually, in Overwatch, even though we have major LANs where, you know, we get the best teams in the whole world to play together, there really are pretty distinct regional styles in like different regions. Just kind of choose to play one way or the other. And honestly, it's still pretty hard to call like who's going to come out on top, who's going to be able to get the win in those important matches when they clash. Like back in the day, it felt like, hey, there was just one meta that everybody had to play. But now as things have regionalized, there ends up being, I think, more room for creativity, more room for people to really master their own styles. And it makes like the impact of heroes being quote unquote OP or like a certain strategy being defining less important. And on top of that, with Deadlock, with the draft, I think it's always going to spice things up, right? Because you have the opportunity to kind of directly attack your opponent's strategies, prevent them from playing exactly what they want to play. And so it's just in the nature of a game like Deadlock that you kind of need to have a deeper strat book. You can't just be a one-trick team that always plays one style. Every player, you know, we've seen this a lot in the past, right? Where if a player, even if they're amazing on a couple characters, if they don't have a wide enough pool, that can become a big vulnerability. It can become a liability in the draft. These two teams, I don't think we're going to see too much of that, because they've kind of been forged in that fire. And so all these players that can pilot a pretty sick range of heroes.
Yeah, and that was something I wanted to get into, but it seems like we don't have time, is adapting mid-tournament and making yourself like non-meta locked and foolproof going into an event. But we do have the bans coming on through. Leviathan, they chose to do first pick, take away Doorman. What I'm curious about is Abrahams. Do they ban Mirage? Do they ban Pocket? Or do they ban Billy to really throw a spanner in the works here between these two teams?
My hopes up.
or just
Hope you're happy.
Whoa,
something completely
holiday
different.
band. That's interesting. So
It makes
there-
sense.
I mean,
a bit.
I think with Mirage Pocket, like I actually kind of like this in a way with second pick, because for me, the top tier right now, Doorman, Billy, Mirage, and Pocket. So Leviathan's going to get one of those three, probably
You're under my
Billy,
protection now.
or they go Mirage. But now you can go Billy Pocket as the top two for Abrahams, which actually I kind of think is insane. No, like just the combo potential, the team fight, like that's almost a team fight in a box with just those two heroes. Like Billy Chain into a big Pocket Affliction and a nuke set. It probably just pops
What are we
most of the
standing
cast
around
most of the
for?
time.
Let's
So
stop breaking shit.
I think Abrahams, it looks pretty scary here. Mirage is going to need to really pull his weight with a dominant lane and map presence to really make up, I think, for these picks.
We've seen this. I want to say it was in the finals last week of if you're going to invest your first pick in a hero like Mirage and he's not pulling the weight at the end of that game, then what was the point of first picking him when you could have went something else? And like you're seeing here, a Pocket and ability to be picked up for Abrahams, like that's two S tier heroes. Obviously, you know, Mirage is giving S tier in terms of like how teams view him right now. But going back to the initial ban, I mean, with Holiday being taken out, it does leave open a lot of other heroes to be secured here. I'm kind of surprised. Well, I'm not surprised with the Holiday ban because I resume he had a pretty good game on it. But what I'm more looking towards for Leviathan, if they want to bank on a Mo and Krill yet again for captain.
Drifter, interesting. I do kind of like Drifter against Pocket in particular, because having that Ren silence, the chase down potential. I think one of the things that is important to Pocket's game is like being able to side lane for a long time and kind of hit that later game scaling and to get really farmed up. And okay, so like in that mid to early to mid game, there's a vulnerability window where Drifter gets max rend and Pocket is actually pretty vulnerable to getting ganked and killed before he hits that crazy potential survivability in the late game. So I see the vision, I think, for some of these pictures. Leviathan, Abrams, though, waste no time picking up the Venator. They want to ensure that they've got a good option before the mid-stage bans for that hard carry role.
We got some even new stats in there when a hero gets picked. We can kind of see the win. I guess it's the win rate of each player who's played that hero. You saw ours there, I think it was 5 and 7. I didn't catch the other one because it was a little bit quick for me because I only just noticed it. Since we weren't here last week, you actually do have some new stats in game as well, which we'll take a look at a little bit later on. Infernus not being picked top 3. I was trying to remember who's the other like kind of S tier hero that we're not seeing initially grabbed here, and I forgot about Infernus completely. Apollo as well. We saw some great play out of in the last few weeks. So a lot of strong heroes being left into the second banning phase here, which kind of surprised me because I don't really rate necessarily Venator with what we've been seeing as that strong compared to some other heroes.
Yeah, he's not amazing. I do think though, for these kind of like huge team fight drafts, like Abraham's now, they pick up the Lash, very, very sick team fight. Billy Lash, Pocket, Billy Chain just sets up for these like crazy synergy combos. Leviathan grabs the Mo, which actually could be kind of a nice way to pull a combo breaker, right? To actually burst down someone as tanky as Billy. Combo is one of the few tools in the game that actually makes that kind of realistic to start on somebody. On top of that, another pretty big liability for Pocket at any stage of the game. And they go for the Rem to mitigate some of the spirit damage and natural divine barrier builder. So Leviathan are really trying to like break some of these team fight combos by picking people off or just tank through them, maybe with a counter initiate from Rem. But I like for Abraham's that like the Venator for me fits well with a huge team fight behind him because he's standing there, he's poking you, he's playing a room. It's, you can try going on him, but if you do, right, the counter initiate and the fight is really, really deadly. So I think you'd rather have Geist. I think she's like the best hero right now in that exact role, but Venator for me still works in a way that I don't see Infernus in that same way. And they go with the McGinnis as well. So this looks pretty scary to kind of fight into. Like Venator, McGinnis, Bebop for me can kind of like play some positions and just be like in a room. You just cannot go to these characters, right? You cannot try and team fight into that. And in the open, the team fight ults are going to be pretty sick. Leviathan, a much more individualistic game from them. I feel like a lot of this relies on finding pickoffs, but with the Drifter, Mo, Abrams, like that seems quite reasonable. They could, snowball pickoffs on the side waves and play to their strengths as well. So I think the two teams have, really diverged in terms of the way they want to play the game, but it makes sense given the opening picks of the draft.
I'm a little bit worried though for Leviathan because last week they had a Mo and a Holiday and they had like a 20k lead against Buff and George for like the 15-20 minute mark, maybe even 25-minute mark. But the later the game went on, the less effective the Mo Holiday combo kind of worked for them. And I feel like Abraham's kind of actually counterpicked the Bebop. I expected Leviathan to take Bebop as like a last pick because they want to go with like 2 initiates. But one thing that worries me is like having a Geist here, it does give you like that late game carry, So Geist, I don't expect to be involved in a lot of these fights, but then it puts a lot of pressure on like Drifter, Mirage, and I guess now Abrams to be in the right places to confirm these kills early on. But man, I see the McGinnis, and I worry about like the max wall with like Echo Shard. You have the turrets around the walls. You can block off mid pit extremely well. If you hook someone in, you can block them off. You can cut Mo and Krill off from the support and maybe force like a nap time when they don't want to use it. I think the disruption of Abrahams with just the last 2 picks alone, and even Lash on top of that, really prevents Leviathan from almost getting going in my eyes if they don't have a really strong start.
Yeah, I do think they are going to rely a lot on the laning presence of somebody like Mirage, who we see typically win their lane and look pretty good doing so. But at the same time, I mean, the right counter laners could kind of turn that one around and make it pretty interesting. Also, Pocket for me is always a hero that is pretty weak on the lane, right? Like at this level of play, people really put the pressure on, and you are quite vulnerable to being just killed off in lane or forced into some really defensive early buys on Pocket. And if that is the case, the game can kind of feel hard if you're playing from behind, trying to farm up, losing towers. That's where, hey, maybe this Mokrill Drifter, from like almost like the 8 to 15 minute mark could really start to snowball the game. Fremont is going to be the one piloting the Drifter, Overseas taking the Mokrill. So Mokrill Nation, you've got your newest member here, Overseas. Be sure to show him some love.
Interesting. Also, like I'm enjoying seeing these hero records. Obviously, the thing is, I think they do swap around like what heroes they're choosing. Actually, no, I guess it's for the very beginning. So that's really cool to see. So Captain on the Abrams. So yeah, Overseas piloting the Mo and Krill. I resume expected to be over on the Rem. A Shark on the Lash. So is that Sonya, or is that who's Sonya going to be on? Is that Pocket that I'm assuming?
I think Sonya plays a lot of Pocket. I mean, he has in the past at least. It's been a second, but I'm not surprised to see Shark on the Lash. It's like, it makes sense. It's kind of the hybrid of exactly the role he plays, where I've seen him on some of these Spirit Nukers like Apollo and Viscus, but I'll see him playing more of like some of the carry farmers, and Lash is kind of both. Early game, you're a Spirit Nuker, and then late game, you kind of become a gun carry in your own right. Yeah. I saw Piggy in the chat, by the way, saying, where's a Sinclair for Leviathan? I think that's a good shout. Like, Sinclair could have been kind of sick here, like Stolen Affliction, Lash ult, Billy ult. I think that could have been nasty. At the same time, it might be hard to play Sinclair into like this level of pick and catch, where there's not so much team fight behind you. Even if you get the like best possible ult steal, it's like there's no combo for a Billy ult on Leviathan. Not really, right? Maybe like a tornado or something, but nothing as explosive as Lash or Pocket. So interesting. I think Sinclair is still one of those heroes that we're probably all just terrible at, and in like a year, everyone will be like, "Oh, Sinclair's so broken." once people really, play that character the most, since it really has an obscene skill ceiling.
I've got a different question for Piggy. Where's your team, man? I think I almost forgot you were on Buff Enjoyers like a long
we got to get Piggy
ago.
into the night shift. We got to get him into the action, but we'll have to see. Hopefully soon, man. But also, hey, I think a lot of players are going to be waiting on the sidelines, esports wise, to see things kind of grow and develop. But by waiting on the sidelines, you miss out. It's a $5,000 prize pool week. This is a great week to be competing in the night shift. But the only way to do it is to be here week in, week out. Kind of have to invest the time early, right, to get that kind of reward. As we're getting our teams all in the lobby drafted. It is going to be Sonya piloting the Pocket. Curious to see
who. Jake. That call out for Piggy wasn't meant to be BM. It was like a legitimate, like, when are you getting a team, man? Because we want to see back. I guess everyone chat was like, why is he being Piggy?
He's a good player.
Yeah, I want to see him come back. That's what I'm looking for here. There's a lot of players like Naked as well in North America. I want to see come back and play. I know he's been streaming again lately. Obviously happy to see Goober back on a team as well here. But as things are getting locked in, it looks like we're getting just moments away from hopping into game here. I still can't believe, and I wish we had the ability to not make it a best of one, but like these two teams in a best of one match it's so crazy to see, considering you see such different styles out of them when they know it's a best of one, how much safer they have to play. And I wish there's a world we can make this like a best of 3 into a best of 3 or something like that. But you guys don't want to be here till like 4 a.m. doing EU matches, and then
I'm not trying to be here till 4 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. But this is gonna be exciting, man. Like Leviathan, off the back of a recent victory against Abrahams, they have struggled to beat them, period. They've struggled even more to beat them consistently here. And I think this would be a good showing of if they can do it, and showing off that Dimov has been able to meld into the team well. Because I feel like we haven't seen Dimov play in true Dimov style in such a long time. I feel like it's hard to remember that he was voted as the best player in 2025 in, I think, the world. I mean, for sure, EU. I don't remember when it came to NA with the voting.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, D-Mob, definitely one of the OGs of competitive Deadlock. Definitely a player that we're all expecting to have an illustrious career. But Abraham's, man, I mean, this is a quintessential Abraham's draft. They're so sick in the team fights, so nasty to challenge around the mid boss, around the major objective fights like Rift and Earn. So I'm very curious to see how Leviathan navigate that here in our EU Challenger match. Night Shift number 50. Got a ring to it, doesn't it?
It does, man. So now are you basically saying for people to not donate more into the prize pool so it just stays at 5K for number 50? Or are we trying to get to like 50,000 for the prize pool for today?
Yeah, please donate 45 grand. Jesus, if you're a Saudi prince watching this show who's got 45 G's, honestly, please do not send that via PayPal donation. Send me an email. We'll figure it out how to do that properly. If somebody wants to absolutely flex on us, if you recently won the lottery and would like to give us all your money, I don't expect that to happen. I think we got a nice, pretty purse for these players competing on the night shift as the lanes begin here. Let's check out some of these laning matchups. Always a pretty interesting one to dissect. Mo Krill in the mid lane. Could be kind of scary, right? Mo in the front, Mirage in the back. It's kind of a lot of poke, but Mo's already taken a bit of a beating here in the early trade.
Wow, how does that gut shot connect here? Over on Empty Dreams, gets stunned up over in the mid lane. Bebop Vendor, I feel like that's a very dirty lane, to be honest. Obviously, like Mo Krill's to be hard to finish off, though. He is a big, chunky boy with massive bones to be hooked in right into a gut shot can actually be quite punishing here. So I feel like, as you mentioned before, a lot of pressure going to be onto Empty Dreams here to really make this Mirage work well in the early to mid game to allow D-Mob to really stack up high enough to be effective in damage later on.
Honestly, I think Mo seems pretty hard in this lane to me with Venator, right? With the somewhat reliable stun to break you out of the burrow. It would be pretty scary. Abrams Ram, I mean, this is one of like the classic ultimate stalemate lanes in the game, but up against Billy, they're gonna have problems just defending the tower. Like this McGinnis Billy, they don't really need to kill heroes, right? They're just gonna try and take the Guardian.
I mean, like the early pickup for Saint, I feel like the shows they want to be aggressive here, especially using that wall to zone them back, take this tower early and free up that early rotation and potentially a lane for that Arzo to farm up here. So this is actually gonna kind of worry, even if Billy picks up monster rounds too. Like this is gonna be a massive shove lane. You can already see the damage being done over on the Captain. Obviously with the Rem support out of Irazumi, it's not too big of a deal, but that tower, we have to keep an eye on it here.
Bit of a brawl early in the mid lane. Disarm comes out, everybody going for the parries, nobody biting on a quick melee, but a good trade on a Bebop is gonna make him play a little bit more passive for Taz. Kind of hurts on Bebop once you start to get low. It gets a little bit harder to play for those bomb stacks, and Overseas gets a great scorn. Stabilizing just a little bit more in that lane. Another McGinnis wall catches the Abrams, but a quick double heavy melee is going to deal with that one, no problem. It will be a nice little wave crash here for the Billy, and another couple hundred points of Guardian damage. It all adds up here with the McGinnis comp.
I mean, luckily for them, we are seeing the counter pressure in the mid and the right hand lane for Leviathan, so they're able to kind of still take an advantage in 2 of the 3 lanes. There's a little knock about the Dust Devil here to catch out Tass, who's very low in health as well. So the pressure has been applied. It's continuing to push on for Tass. I mean, there's no Jin's mark, so there's no way of actually finishing him off here. But keeping them both so low is going to put so much pressure on this lane, and that Guardian's going to take a lot of damage.
Oh man, yeah, this lane is actually turning really strongly in favor of Empty Dreams. This is why the Mirage first pick comes in. I thought there was hope for some playmaking from Taz and Arzo, but it's going to be a pretty painful early base trip. They're even going to lose, I think, at least a minion or 2. Maybe not. They'll be able to make it back to catch some of that farm. Arzo's going to take the faster route. It'll just be the Guardian that takes a really substantial amount of damage. Now maybe a fight breaking out in the side lane. Yes, you can break the wall, but the bash down comes in. Billy picks up a kill, and Rem alone is going to super struggle. This could be tower here. I mean, this is a aggressive push from Abrahams, but they might even be able to find the T1 at 330. Should be insane if they're able to finish it. But it looks like Mo rotating in ensures that won't be the case. I'd love to see Mo take a lane swap here and just try to defend, because he's gotten a couple kills. He's got some decent farm on him.
So worry about the damage that he might take as the hook comes in. Captain cannot get a break here. Down to half HP as the bomb's gonna explode, and he just can't catch a break anywhere he goes. The left lane being walled off and being shot down, here being hooked in and shot down. Luckily he'll heal up from the minions. So I do worry about this, Jake. One thing that I kind of like noticed, maybe you have a different opinion on, is that when you have kind of a losing lane, trying to save that losing lane is very risky, because then if you rotate over and make the swap happen and still lose the lane, then you put more of your heroes behind that should have been getting further ahead, especially in a winning lane like they had in middle. So I'm curious to see how this will play out for Leviathan.
Yeah, I think they didn't bring the Abrams here to win mid. They brought him here so that they stop losing the side lane tower, right? Like Mo has a pretty sick D push with Scorn. Obviously, you get a big minion wave. It's just going to heal Mo even more. So I think it's a good matchup into McGinnis for the moment, and Billy as well, someone who can actually take those trades in melee range. Abrams, even with the Rem heal, was just not able to make that happen. Hook missed. That's going to be an opportunity here for Captain if he wants to get aggressive. But with the anti-heal on that consecrating grenade, it's still a little bit scary, even for someone as tanky as Abrams, to commit into the Venator. And here we see the impact of the Rem Mo, man. Sustain is crazy. It's completely turned the fortunes of this side wave. And McGinnis does not do well when she's under pressure, when her tower is the one called into question. And Overseas really putting work in here for Moan Girl Nation.
And the extra levels as well here for Resume helping out quite a bit. And he actually gets the chase down together, forces them back, and saves their own tower to keep their pressure on. So the swap working out quite well here. Overseas doing the early game carrying for his team at 4,000 souls as well. My lord, he's so far ahead. And he has combo ready to go.
Under the Walker dive is crazy work here. Great stuff. And yeah, they might even, with the Rev minions, this looks like it could be enough. Although, hold on. Mo, a little bit of anti-synergy here. But with the disarm, it's looking like a little bit of a deep chase. And Billy is going to back off just to satisfy with the tower defense. This lane is definitely on the edge of a knife here. Both towers super low HP. Venator getting gone on in mid though. Damage is pretty nice. And there's a Jin's Mark. A couple more hits would be enough to drop him. Can they re-up the Jin's Mark? They can't. So Empty Dream's not going to be able to finish this one. Arzo able to make it back to the base. So much investment in the early laning items. Really showing both of these teams the priority they have on just getting an early advantage.
Arzumi getting pulled back in with the bash down, getting meleeed up as well. The rat should be going to sleep. And that'll be the tower finally taken, as well as Overseas falling in the lane right before this. Also, really quickly, big shout out to Rata and Hostas for the $5 donation each towards the prize pool. Now up to 5,010. You kind of ruined the 50 there, so we might maybe need to get the prize pool to 50-50 to kind of make up for it. Who knows? But yeah, either way, the tower goes down. Pressure back in for Leviathan on this mid lane. And that tower's down to half HP as well. Funny enough, the right lane has actually been just giga quiet compared to these other two lanes.
Yeah, it looks like it was pretty much a stalemate over there. Maybe a little bit more farm, though, going to Lash and Pocket. Seems like they're winning the economy game there. Freemok kind of struggling on the Drifter. And for a draft focused on some early picks, it does kind of hurt to be falling behind and losing these towers. McGinnis definitely kind of struggled for a moment once Overseas rotated into the lane, but finding his footing, flow charting the map here, going from tower to tower. Now going to head over to the Pocket lane and look for a fight there.
Is this just Saint's job? He's like, okay, I'm going to come to your lane. We're going to take a tower.
That's McGinnis, baby. This is the way to play this hero competitively, at least until all the Guardians are down.
I'm not going to the heavy barrage build we used to see with McGinnis being spammed out quite a bit over mostly North America, I'd say, with League. If you look at him, said the turret can be leveled up to already rank 2. Heavy barrage being used to clear out the lane, and we even see some rotations out of the right hand side. I mean, we're seeing Lash put up in towards middle, looking for those opportunities, and I think Abraham's trying to maybe make something out of this. I mean, they're funny. They are ahead when it comes to souls by 4K, even though they're going to be down towers.
Let's push Greenwich.
Sorry, other way around.
That's why they're rich, because they killed all the towers, Jason.
It's, you know, Uncure, it's 10:40. It's past my bedtime.
You got to get this guy some glasses. Lash taking a brawl. Oh, not quite. Doesn't even quite pick up the Mo. I mean, does get the slam on him, but he's just going to burrow out of there. I don't know if there's going to be a chase down there. So Lash ult comes to nothing for Shark. It was pretty close to picking up a second there. Could have been nice, but man, Mo is actually looking solid in this game.
It's a lot of damage, man. We're just like the burrow and a scoring of like 660, forcing Saint to immediately fall back to the own tower as well. Now we're chiming in with the mid lane here. The Dust Devil not going to connect on the knockup. Instead, they turn their attention over towards this Guardian, which is below half HP, and maybe they'll get their first Guardian of, second Guardian of the game. I really needed some glasses. I have to go get them from downstairs, I feel like. But the Guardian will go down either way.
This is one of the interesting realities, I think, for McGinnis is like, yes, you will usually get the enemy Guardians quicker. And yes, that gives you a bit of a lead. And then we just see, though, eventually, once your own Guardians do get traded, that lead goes away. And you're kind of left looking for a role from McGinnis. Yes, she does her job well, pressuring the lane. But because it wasn't completely explosive, like she didn't get the early pressure tower kill with Billy that we thought could have happened because of that rotation from Mo, her game is going to be a little bit slower now. And I'm curious to see what she'll build into, if it's just kind of like a classic support aura-based McGinnis, or if she tries to go for, you know, more of that heavy barrage max or even some gun damage, or quick early combo, big burst. And that's going to be a near instant kill onto Task. Maybe more to be found here with Mo in the lane and Pocket just backing off.
Still lost the Garden for this one, though.
True, but
I'm so sorry.
They
didn't lose it. I swear, I really need some glasses, man. You got to help me out here. This is really tough. They're going to lose the tower,
blind.
though.
Yeah, this guy's blind.
Towers whatsoever. It's going to go down. I was just 10 seconds earlier there. I was reading the script ahead of time. But yeah, I mean, the combo coming in, I feel like, though, if you're not getting kills with these combos every time that cooldown's done, then you're kind of not playing Mo to the extent you need to play him, because he's going to fall off later in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't even think Mo balls off that hard in competitive play. Like, if you can get farmed to the point where you are very tanky, very hard to kill, like, I don't mind the late game gank potential from Mo and Krill. I mean, ultra late, huge team fights. Yes, you've got problems, but early parry on the pickup. Empty Dreams getting annihilated. Beautiful find here from Together. And maybe it really traded out, though. A lot of players. This is turning into a real burger box in the lane. Everybody throwing melees. Nobody getting parried, though.
His heel doing some decent work there as now Overseas forced to run away, and it looks like Abrahams will come out with the kill lead. Just the mole man. Don't tell me, I was about to say, don't tell me escapes from this one. He will fall. Era Dominant is maxed out as well here for Arzo, but no need to actually pull the trigger on this one. As they get control of the urn, let's rotate it onto the right-hand side. We also have some more donations. I don't remember the one before this, but Belta coming with a $40 donation puts it at 50-60. So I guess we need to go up to like 5,500 to make it. No, because that's like, I don't know. We'll get there eventually. Let's keep the donations coming on through to be the biggest prize pool we've had here in that shit.
All competitive players and saying they would like more prize pool rather than less prize pool, even if it's not a funny number.
That is true. We did do a survey.
Not so funny for him. Another death. Once again to the Billy. Kind of a scary sign. Captain, though, finds Shark elsewhere. So they're putting some side wave pressure on, but with the Rift spawning on the left side, Geist is going to scout that out alongside Venator. That may be the flashpoint for another engagement. Mirage coming off the respawn should be able to make it to that if they want to fight, but Mo's a long way away. He's just going to siege tower. Sonya picks up Majestic Leap. He's going to be able to defend here. Looks like a free Rift unless Geist wants to challenge. Maybe Mo could TP over. This could end up turning into a fight. No, it won't. Kind of surprised Geist didn't go for the touch there. With swap available to maybe look for a play, but maybe just too threatening. Arzo with that crossbow can just delete you from nearly full HP.
And boy, do we know it. So I think last week some like crazy shots as well as the Venator plays. This information being gained by Fremont, though. Not going to connect on his 2. You can't underestimate like the information that you gain here to play safer in these other lanes. And can we actually take a look here at like player damage done so far in the game? Because there's something I want to point out particularly when it comes to one individual player on the Leviathan side. Something we mentioned before. It's going to be D-Mob. The show charge connects onto Together on the rope and the combo as well. They really want to take down this goat man as Perry comes on through. Bashdown's not going to save him. And Overseas will pick up another kill.
Yeah, Overseas, I mean, he's making the most in this game. It is really working. Hook is deep, but a Mo Krill is a really tough kill. I don't really see this one going that well, especially with the gut shot not getting a wall stun. Rem showing, man, that the sustain from like Abrams Mo with Rem behind is unreal. Like, it's really, really challenging to fight into that front line. I think until we get to the point of Pocket just solo carry with Affliction, Lashhold is good, but it doesn't get a proper pickup on the guy. She's still super low HP, and the ground strike is enough. Well played by Shark to find that one. D-Mob wasn't able to find the health swap. And Overseas is going to go down as well. So an extremely successful Walker defense for Abrahams.
Fortunately for them, no objective to take here. Not really much jungle. I mean, there's a couple of camps to be picked up. As you even see, it looks like Irizumi going for an evade on the right-hand side to take away these shrines. Nice push out of Leviathan, though. I respect the macro play here, knowing they get caught on the left-hand side. It's to start to take some stuff on the right-hand side of the map here. And as we take a look at hero damage, one thing I did want to point out was mostly towards D-Mob on the Geist compared to everyone else on the other side. He's obviously, I mean, some of the lowest damage on his team, but that's kind of expected considering his whole goal right now is to just farm up as much as possible. Though he's really not as far ahead as I thought he would be. Arzo currently sitting on 14 compared to D-Mob at 12.
Yeah, in the end, Geist is a bit of a farm bot early. Like that's pretty much what you're picking her for, to go ultra late. Empty Dreams hoping to be the carry who can play a little bit more actively. It's like a hook onto Drifter. He is absolutely dead. Although the McGinnis heal, the Spear Resist is doing huge work. It makes him live quite some time. Captains overseas, they get chained in, but there's a lot of tankiness on this Mo. The REM sleep sets up for some big heavies onto Billy. He's going to be able to dash jump his way out of there. And as the dust settles, it is just essentially a pickoff on Drifter. Although there's so many players still in this fight. Could be more action to be seen.
Have to be so careful with Sonya, though. Disappeared off the map. We weren't sure if an Affliction was coming on through, as we do see it is available to be used. And him and Empty Dreams will go head to head on the right-hand side, while Leviathan go back to a push in towards middle. Now we're 15 minutes in. Mid-boss probably not in the cards here, but I am curious, more importantly, to see like Saint. What build is he going? What is he leveling first? Is he going towards his walls next after his turrets? As we might start finally seeing Affliction come on through, but they don't need it. They take down Drifter once again. Fremont, poor him, hasn't been able to play the game in the last minute and a half.
Yeah, and Sonya's gone for Max Barrage on Pocket too, which really is a build for pushing the scaling. I mean, I think this is a game for Abrahams where Pocket really is your ultimate late game damage dealer. And you want to get to that stage. We've seen it before in the night shift, right? When you just hit this obscene net worth on Pocket, you become almost unkillable and just incredibly difficult to fight. As long as you're able to afflict somebody, you know, they're going to be really struggling to survive. Spell magic should be picked up here for Billy, or for Bebop rather, as he goes for this Earn Dunk. Looks like pretty much all the souls going the way of Abrahams. Nice little win for them, especially with movement buff on Taz. He's going to be happy to get into some action here.
On the note of Pocket here, for like the ultra late game or just the late game carry, I feel like there's really only one win condition they have against him, or I guess two. Either you don't get afflicted because you position well like Buff and Jordas does, or you got to hit him with a combo. But if somehow like Sonya gets like a cheat death, I feel like you lose the opportunity to take Pocket out of the equation, and you're forced to have to play with that first iteration of dodging the affliction. So I do wonder, like, will Sonya eventually go towards G-Teth? Will we get that late in the game? Will he need to buy an item like that? Because I'm looking mostly towards overseas to be the one to shut him down.
Yeah, I do think it's not a terrible situation for the late game Pocket because, ooh, by the way, overseas, I'll hold that thought. He just gets absolutely evaporated as soon as we go here to the Venator camp. Irdomini is out. Shots are missed. Swap comes in, but will it be enough? The McGinnis wall worth its weight in gold. Dimov trying to play his way out of this, but does get caught and overwhelmed. Abrahams bringing the team fight threat as 555 donated by Troubled Turtle. Another kill potentially to be found. A counterspell is nice though. Blocks some of the follow-up. The chain gang pullback is good, but not good enough. Captain slips around the wall, preventing further losses. But as I was saying before, I think there's a couple Divine Barrier builders on the side of the Leviathan. I think like Mo and Rem for sure, and then likely Mo as well, since he does kind of value the ability range. The item is just pretty well statted for, you know, what Mo wants in terms of the tankiness. So that, for me, that's like another way to play this. But in the end, the thing that gets so scary for me about Pocket is just, it's like, it's not just the affliction, right? It's everything about the kit. It's the spirit burns. It's just like the nuking damage. And also it's the ability to keep these lanes out forever. I mean, it's probably still some time committed to the side lane here for the Pocket to really have success, but always the opportunity for more.
I wonder if we're gonna see like Cursed Relic. I don't know if we've seen it in North America that often, but obviously a good way to shut down Pocket with the recent changes too, where you don't lose your extra damage until you actually activate the item. And I'm looking for some sort of answer for Leviathan. DB definitely, as you mentioned, is a good way to go about it, as Captain unfortunately gets caught out. Abraham's still under a lot of pressure on both lanes. I mean, even though they did lose Captain, it's not the biggest deal considering they do have pushes on the left and the right hand side. Leviathan looking for that first walker. I think they're going to quite get it here on this right hand side, as Sonya's going to come in to defend and already doing some serious damage here. Obviously,
no tornado. Okay, the new combo is going to miss on Mirage. I was going to say he could actually be in trouble with Pocket having full stacks of Barrage. It's going to be just fine. Slip back. A little bit of walker damage, nothing much to speak of. That's a mid boss, I think, being sent by Abrahams. Looks like they're all on it. Bit of a risky move, but hey, they've got the team fight to back it up. Overseas is down. And I wonder, okay, now, just now, Leviathan are aware of this. I think this is a bit of a late scout for them. Drifter sees it coming, but will they be able to contest this? It's really just Abrams has to get into the pit and triple McGinnis turret. I mean, this looks almost impossible. They've got the mark, but Drifter knows, I mean, there's just no way to really outplay in the pit like that against this level of play. So Abraham's going to get away with essentially a free mid boss without even forced to commit their ults. All the cost that's charged is going to be on the side Walker, but a beautiful hook by Taz connects with the Mirage just in time to pull him in for the Walker stomp. Mirage is trying to do what he can to finish this kill, but I don't know if he's going to find this Walker, especially with Taz clearing the wave. Yeah, he's going to have to back out and live. A lot of opportunity for more kills. Oh no, a catch cannot happen on D-Mob. This is the one player who has to stay alive, but it's just not meant to be. Pulled in and deleted. And Abrahams, this is the dream scenario. They've got the team fight tools that they need. They've got the region behind. Now they're going to commit as well. No comeback resist to speak of. Well, maybe a little bit on this rift, but it doesn't seem to be enough. This captain is in a world of hurt here on the pause.
How do you feel about this mid boss for Walker trade? Because originally in my head, it's like, that's not that big of a deal. Like, I actually don't hate that out of Leviathan, but then I remembered, oh yeah, you have to worry about a chain gang, you have to worry about a death slam, you have to worry about an affliction, hooks, and walls. There's a lot of Abraham's side to pull you away from that Walker if you're trying to defend.
I don't know. I'm pretty sus on giving a mid boss. I think it's basically never worth to give a mid boss. It's basically always bad. But sometimes use your only option. If you don't have a means to like give a serious fight, then well, you're just going to feed all your lives away and then give up all the rejuves, right? Which would be worse. See, if more players want to come into this, they are getting a good cap here early. Maybe the touch is going to be a little too late. Abraham's knowing that they're the ones at this time not in position. They're going to just give up the rift. But oh, I don't know about sticking around here. This is a deep move. They go for the combo into the rejuves, though. Taz is down once. Players are collapsing, though, to come into this fight. They're going to try and stick around for another kill, but a beautiful parry by Taz. It's going to mitigate some of the fall-up onto him, but fighting under these super minions could actually be the ticket here. So many Leviathan players, though, starting to get low. The rotation in pays dividends. Taz proves to be correct, pulling that bait. Likely to be more kills to be found with Drifter on the run.
And Sonny gets a dunk on the air in the meantime. Sorry, he's picked up initially. Zarazumi does steal it away here, but a lot being given up, a lot of deaths. I mean, I would have been okay just taking away maybe the rejuve out of Task, but the amount of time it took for the respawn and then to follow it back, as well as the knockup out of Task, buys him time. Like there was no way you're going to commit into a second kill onto that Bebop before the reinforcements coming on through, so it cost them some more lives. Abraham's, though, not really that far ahead, to be fair. It's only like a 7k difference, and that could potentially be closed out on if somehow Arazumi can get this dunk.
Yeah, the upside of those fights, the scrappiness, is that there hasn't been an opportunity to get a clean Walker siege, but I think this is the moment here for Abrahams. They've got players collapsing on this right side Walker. Abrams trying to clear this wave against McGinnis, maybe disrespecting her a little bit. Has a lot of sustain. McGinnis not the most kill threat. As the Walker goes down elsewhere, Demon's going to let that happen, just defend the wave. Empty Dreams, though, won't be so lucky. Gets picked up on the other side of the map. Billy and Pocket working together, pressuring everywhere. Now, McGinnis, her pressure in mid, the bluff is being called. Counterspell is out, but maybe a little bit early as there's still a catch here for the Lash. Is there going to be kill follow-up, though? Mo slips away into the lowers, but Rejuve's still available. This is a comfortable fight for Abrams. They're happy to take these trades. Leviathan, I think, making a huge mistake to take this fight.
Continue to punish them here as well, as Freemock's going to fall another time. Yes, they're pushing the right lane to look for Walker, but they're going to lose one on the left lane. They're going to lose one on the mid lane, and well, the urn will reset, so at least some reprieve for them. But the damage has been done, man. We're looking at almost 20k difference now, as finally Abrahams has opened up this game. So a big donation, I think it's a $50 donation for NFO Faded coming on through. Puts the prize pool at $5,115 and 55 cents. That's a lot of fives in there. Again, once again, a big shout out for all the donations into the prize pool. And remember, every donation that goes to the prize pool does not go to us. It goes directly to the players. So we will not see a single cent of it. Only the players do. Meantime, overseas, he's flexed out pretty far here on the minimap. Potentially getting caught out and towards him as he does just back away with the burrow. Didn't go Veil Walker this time, which I think is quite interesting. We did see Captain run that quite a bit to look for those initial catches.
It's going to clear the boxes on Mo. Once you have this burrow on low enough cooldown, this is a nice way to pick up some extra souls, especially in this game with nobody else doing it. Crouch walking through the tunnel is always pretty funny while the burrow is on cooldown. And this is, we figured out Saint's job, man. It's camp in the mid lane and keep the wave permanently pushed. And it's actually providing a lot of utility to this Abraham's comp. Like, with how sick their team fight is, trying to punish McGinnis with a max wall and max heal is a risky proposition in the best of times. And with all these turrets set up around mid, it just feels like the map is boxed in for Leviathan. Like, they're going to struggle to get out and farm their camps properly with the way McGinnis is playing and the team fight threat behind her.
Damn, 114 golden statue bus to 119, except in that 114 for the Leviathan, all stacked on Rem and Drifter. On the other side's a little bit more equally spread. But one thing that's worrying me looking at the souls currently is look how far ahead Arzo is. 31,000 souls. If you're Fremok or overseas, Empty Dreams, like Arizumi, you just cannot fight. Even Captain cannot fight up against him. That this is hitting the worrying point. Like obviously the Iradomini's gonna do some crazy damage, but beyond that, Arzo's still gonna be pelting you constantly in these fights. And I don't know if they have a clean way of getting him to kill him, because even if you do kill him, guess what? Sana still has 31k net worth as well.
Love the Decay buy from Together. I saw the Decay earlier. I didn't realize it was Together who bought it, but I think it's a really smart buy this game. Up against Mo and Abrams, it's such a value item with that percent max HP damage. I think really intelligent. A bit of a gank attempted here on the Lash. Gets silenced by Ren. The slowing hex starting to run out, but do they have enough damage for the finish? He's pathing straight to his teammates. Fremok recognizes it. Pops the darkness, should be able to get him the movement speed to get him out of trouble. Abraham's happy enough to just shave Shark's life and reset with the Drifter all used.
Wow, this picked up for Sonya. Can we actually get a tab hold here and like a quick item look-see-loo across the board here between these two teams? Or maybe we're gonna have a fight break out towards middle as Leviathan are looking for their opportunity with mid-boss come up in a minute time.
It's so annoying, this McGinnis, man. Saint is pulling so much weight here. Like, you bring a big move to mid, but this superior stamina buy I think is really smart. It lets him play up pretty deep, aggressive in the lane, and then as soon as you bring a bunch of numbers, he's running away, he's kiting back, and with every second you chase, you really have to have some serious doubt with characters like Lash, Billy, and Pocket kind of collapsing in on the position.
Wall max as well. We have 3 counter spells for Leviathan. I saw there. I didn't catch if there's more than that. I didn't also catch if there's any DBs picked up. Kind of got distracted.
I think DB is on Rem. For sure, I saw Rem with enough money for DB pretty long time ago, but I mean, the scary thing with DB is it's just like the Billy ult creates these scenarios where you just hit so many players, like the Divine Barrier, it might not even save the person you give it to, and then whoever else is caught by the Billy ult and the Pocket combo is just dead to rights, and they're still going to be able to clean up the fight from here. So, I mean, Leviathan's like they have to find these individual pickoffs with their draft, but just hasn't been coming through in the last 10 or so minutes. Drifter, for daring to attempt it, is going to get Billy chained in. Fremok taking tons of damage. The wall is going to isolate him out. The hook pulling him back in deeper. So much focus fire comes in, and this Drifter is just food. Maybe another hook to be found here. Taz is looking, but backs up for now. Lash, though, should be able to finish this one. Quick kill onto the Ram, and 2 players dead. It's an opportunity for the comeback rift. I mean, this one should be capped pretty easily, but maybe more fight in mid as Empty Dreams also potentially getting caught.
Feels like Overseas is going to continue to push this right-hand side, probably giving over mid-boss to Abrahams. Also, big shout out to Jason for another $15 donation. Puts at 51.30, 55 now. As Abrahams are looking to potentially get a piece of that pie. They can advance them through to play against Buff Enjoyers next. Mid-boss already being taken extremely low, and Leviathan, they do rotate players back in to defend against this, while a big wave is shoving that right-hand side is going to destroy those base towers with ease. But it comes down to the Reju pickup here.
Affliction on 2. Lash ult. Rejuve's 2-1, so well taken by Leviathan, but the fight is brutal for them. They're dropping like flies across the board. 1 Rejuve proves to be more than enough. Abrahams may not even need that as they look to hunt down these cleanup kills. D-Mob pops the life swap, but Billy, undeterred, continues to chase down, relentless here alongside the Venator. A wall stun easily sets up that kill. Empty Dreams cannot escape the withering eye of Taz, who finds the pick on the exit, and with the extra zip coming in, Divine Barrier slows things down, but eventually Drifter also falls, and Abrahams, the way is now clear. A base push tries to be had.
Those base guards fell extremely fast for Abrahams on the right hand side, but it doesn't seem to matter here because they're going to lose much more than they are able to take from this one. Also, a shout out to Javin Sucks for a 34.45 donation to put us finally no longer at the 55 cent mark, as we're at 51.65. That is a huge amount of money being split here between our winners of today. And it looks like Abrahams are going to have the opportunity taking the second shrine as well. First stage patron, I feel like it's likely, considering you still have quite a few players down the Leviathan side. Abrahams redeeming themselves so far from this weekend in the Dead Chops tournament.
Yeah, this looks pretty sick. Should be their game to lose at this point. They're going to back off. A lot of souls to spend. Everybody's going to get a nice, impactful buy through. I just don't see how Leviathan make this hold. They're still down ultis. I think there's still a pretty sick window. I mean, the Billy ult alone, alongside this Reju, it feels like to me it's enough to team fight for. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe they're going to be a little more conservative than that. It's a best of one. I don't think it's crazy for Abrahams to take a really slow and steady posture here, farm the map, expand the lead, and look for more kills, because frankly, playing the map has proved difficult, if not impossible, for Leviathan. They have not been able to find these openers. And honestly, I wonder about the smoke curl, like no Warp Stone, no Veil Walker. I kind of think, man, maybe some of these pickoffs on the waves could be a little bit more doable with a bit more maybe mobility in toes. This Decay is like desperately chasing the Moan Krill. Rem though getting caught, slowing X. Divine Barrier pulls him away. They go for the combo, but Billy is tanky, still has one rejuve to work with. A big catch. Rem. Affliction is going to get everybody down to 1 HP. This could be the beginning of the end, Jason. Only one rejuve though, and you got to decide who's going to be able to use it. Seems like Pocket wants to maybe make use of it. Claims, finishes a kill onto Irizumi, trying to just live. It'll be the cheat death proc for now. I didn't realize he had that item. As you mentioned, Jason, it's a real problem once it comes online.
Yeah, I mean, you thought you had the kill onto him. He would have gotten the last rejuve tick away as well, but he does survive. He does back away to heal up in base. Well, the rest of the teams continue to push on through, and Trouble Turtle continue to donate with another $20 donation out of him, puts us at $51.90, and Sarah in with another $5 donation. I'm sorry, I keep throwing these in the middle of the game, but they keep coming on through, puts us at $51.90, as finally the first stage patron does fall. Abrahams do feint a retreat, but is it a feint or is it commit? As the wall gets thrown on through, and you can see them lingering around in towards this mid lane, maybe looking for a catch. Let's head back away with probably a lot of money to spend here and a massive lead.
A lot of jungle to clear, a lot of money to spend, and buff spawning in 15 seconds, but the map feels so constricted for Leviathan. It feels like the game's almost already over. I think they need to find something sort of desperate here, something forced, but Abrahams, I mean, they're down the teamfight ultis, right? That desperate, or the deadly combo of 3, Lash, Billy, Pocket, none of those ults available right now. If there was a chance for Leviathan, I don't know that it's going to get better than this. And you see they're going to go down the lane here, look for some opportunity to find something. Rem Sleep, counterspelled on 1. Together is going to be slept, but where's the follow-up for the kill? Taz, speculative hook for him, doesn't connect. Earn snatched, and maybe an opportunity to retreat. Moan Krill, by the way, very deep behind enemy lines.
And I respect the hustle here, is they have to make something happen, but it is just the beginning of the end. Overseas just trying to buy time, trying to pull players away from the rest of his team and hope to escape. But really, is there anywhere you can run? I mean, Siphon Bullets picked up here for Sharik.
Yeah, the Siphon is dominating right now. I mean, he's got like 1,000 HP stolen from Mo. Insane value for Lash in that one. Maybe a kill to be found on Taz, who's getting potentially run down. This is the kind of chaos, though, that Leviathan were looking to engender. Arzo also down, so hold on. The chase down on the Moat Girl took a little bit too long, but Affliction on 2. Really scary. Free Maksumi bleeding out from that captain as well. Follows him into the grave. Sonya Cheetah has popped, and he's not out of the woods just yet. Can get away, that would be huge for the Pocket. Lash is continuing to poke away. No one has been able to deal with Shark. He's kind of hit that point where he no longer really needs to press his abilities, no longer needs to go for the ground strike, can just kind of play the gun battle, even against characters such as Mirage.
Yeah, and obviously Crippling coming in next. It's going to be very hard to ever fight here with Shark, who's on 34K. At least Leviathan kept things equal. I mean, technically that's a fight that they win, keeping things equal with the comeback mechanics. But what I do worry about is, do they have enough to defend, to push in for a finish on the game? Still 30 seconds left for Fremok and Captain, and Overseas will be up soon, but it seems like Abrahams don't want to close this out just yet. Mid-boss in 40 seconds time. Everyone will be up and available. One thing that's not available is Affliction, still on a 70-second cooldown. So I don't think Abraham's going to rush this mid-boss down anytime soon.
Yeah, no cheat death either. No cooldown investment for Pocket here. Kind of interesting. I feel like you would think, at least in my mind, the Transcendent CD is a really sick value item for Pocket here, but so far focusing on the damage has been a winning recipe for Sonya Sniper. Up to 46,000 souls here, so I mean, honestly, you're comfortable, I think, for Abrahams. Maybe, like, you learned your lesson from that last fight. Essentially, that fight was without some of the key threats. Like, the ults came in, but maybe they were a little disjointed. They weren't all up at the same time. You weren't able to get that kind of really decisive team fight around the McGinnis and the Venator that you've been looking for this game. But you've got a lot of room for mistakes as Abrahams. Like, with the patron drop, both shrines down, the map is just always going to be a problem for Leviathan.
Wait, does Demoff actually have Refresher? Together pointed it out, but I don't know if Demoff sold it and bought Leech instead. Not necessarily
no way he bought Refresher, right?
It was, I mean, I guess he had it for a second.
I mean, he might have like
Swapped it for League.
accidentally bought it and then sold it in base. I can't imagine you buy refresher on guys.
That'd be quite crazy. I hear a combo going off here. Who's it going to be on? I honestly can't tell, as we can see the damage being done so far in the fight on the right-hand side of your screen. But Overseas is solo HP getting pulled right back in. The nap time coming on through as well. Connects only onto one, though. It's not looking good here for Leviathan, as a fight in the staircase is always going to favor Arzo with those gut shots, not to mention a McGinnis in there as well. And Abraham seems to be cleaning up Leviathan. Fremont being forced back, and Dream's able to get one. But that's it. He's one and done.
These Iradomini shots hit, man. Swap comes in from Geist, but how much does it really matter in the face of this overwhelming damage? Sonya doesn't even need the affliction in that fight, and with only Irizumi alive, this should just be game. Jason, I just can't see how Rem can defend without ulti here.
No, look at the damage as well that Arzo did in that fight. 11.8k. And the most on the other side, I mean, it was 6.9 for Dima, but you can't really fight up against this. And neither can the patron. Last stage and last chance.
It just didn't look like Taz took damage in the combo. The McGinnis wall completely protected him. The team is just going to focus fire down the Hidden King. Easy finish for Abraham's. Immaculately executed team fight draft from them. For Leviathan, the picks, the style, it just didn't quite come together. That McGinnis, her pressure on the mid, Saint really making her work past the early game, which impresses me. I feel like, yeah, I know players at this level, they're going to be able to take the Guardians, but to be able to continue have that fighting impact, keeping the map pressured on mid was, I think, a key part of the success for Abrahams. And now they're going to go on into the money match for a chance at half of that prize pool. EU, this is a big week for Abrahams and Buff and Jordan.
Oh, huge week. Not to mention North America as well to still come up after that that champion match has finished off here. But going into this game, I expected honestly a little bit more Leviathan. One thing that does worry me, and I haven't checked, and maybe ZP, if he's here, can let me know. I can see he's muted. Is that did Leviathan rely on the Mo and Krill to win in the Chaps tournament against Abrahams over the weekend as well? Because it seems to be kind of one-dimensional for them. Not necessarily that it was bad in any way. Keep in mind, Overseas was kind of single-handedly carrying the game in the beginning. He had like 4,000 souls before anyone else even came close to that. But it did unfortunately fall off as the game progressed on further on. Like Sonya, he was undealt with. Arzo was untouched. And when those two in the back lines, well, semi-back lines can play like that, especially as you saw in the very last fight, what can you do to stop them? Pretty much nothing.
Yeah, I also feel like draft-wise, giving up Billy Pocket, like Mirage is good, but I don't know that you can give up those two heroes together, because I also feel like if the opponent gets Billy and you get Pocket or vice versa, those characters actually can interact with each other pretty well. Like if you give up Billy, then hey, Affliction can be really annoying for Billy to fight into, and vice versa. Hey, the Chain Gang can be a great way to catch Pocket. But when you have both of those characters in the draft and then you add on to the Lash on top of that, it was just too sick. I think the McGinnis was really well selected to set up for those fights. Venator as well. These like big frontline bunker heroes. The mid bosses just felt impossible. Like fighting into this McGinnis turret nest plus massive team fight ults. This was the best Rejuve contest of the game for Leviathan. They get 2 of the Rejuve last hits, but you just can't fight. You can't challenge. In this kind of arena with all the McGinnis turrets up, the heavy barrage, you couldn't even get a single final blow to take away the one Rejuve that Abrahams did find.
And I don't even know what you do to prevent Abraham from doing something like that when you have to fight into those turrets. I feel like you have to kind of meet them there when they start to prevent all those turrets from going down and not allow them to get fully set up like that. But if you're smart, if you're Saint, get down there early, get everything ready to go, and then you have an easy or relatively easy fight. But going to, one of the last fights, as we were talking about before, Arzo, the damage he was doing, like in those tight quarters with gut shots, with Iradomini, with the one and the amount of like AoE damage that you can do was just insurmountable. What I was mostly curious about was when it came to objective damage, though, between these teams, that I almost want to see Saint a little bit higher, but considering, like you were saying, he was more about keeping the lane shoved than more about actually doing objective damage. 13k is quite respectable. So is 27 assists.
Yeah, I mean, Sonya, for me, the number that I think really speaks to your success on Pocket is 0 deaths. Like you're guaranteed having a dominant game with 0 deaths, right? You're pushing the map out, you're getting farmed up. You kind of know on Pocket that, you are the nuclear bomb end game, like unbeatable, power spike once you're at like 60k souls, Ishev, Chi Death. You don't even get to fully to that state this game, but you're on pace to do so. And just that constant pressure being put on from Pocket and being able to scale so hard into the late game, really well played from Sonya Sniper. But across the board from Abrahams, the team fighting, absolutely immaculate. This is exactly how this team wants to play. This is the draft they want to get. I think if I was Buff and Jovers, I would just, no matter what, do not give Billy Pocket in that top 2 slot. I just can't justify it.
I mean, it comes down to, again, as I said during the draft, is if you're going to first pick a Mirage, the Mirage better do well to carry. And I think, to be fair, Enter James did do relatively well in the beginning, but the game kind of got away from them. And I think, unfortunately, D-Mob just didn't really get to the point because of how far ahead Arz on Sonya was to really come online. I mean, you see he eventually got towards some later parts of his build, but the damage wasn't going to be there. And I mean, the fact that Overseas was able to have 34k damage, I think the real unfortunate part is that Freemock, he pulled the full Obi Cam, like, you know, whole W down lane almost, went 0-9, and the impact out of the Drifter was non-existent, I have to say.
I had pretty good damage, but I'd also honestly look at like the Abrams here, 12,000 damage. I mean, that's a brutal game for Captain. Yeah, I think the strat just didn't quite come together. Overseas, like, it felt like a lot of his damage was from the early game, but it felt like we just kind of hit this point in the game, you know, maybe 20, 25 minutes in, where there's just no longer any chance for Leviathan. They had like one big comeback fight, but even their quote unquote comeback fight was like a 3-for-3, and they've already lost shrines. It's just not good enough. Up next, of course, we've got to crown an MVP from this game. I feel like there's a couple strong candidates from Abraham's. So let's take a look at who we've awarded the honors to here in the challenger match. It'll be Arzo, 9-1-12, putting on some big team fight performances, and a hero that has fallen a little bit down in the draft priority, but it's clearly not out of the mix yet.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note, like, still playing a hero that, like you said, kind of fallen out of the meta from what we've seen, but I think more importantly, just the one death, him and Sonya together having one death between the two, and they're the real carries of this last game for Abrahams, I think shows how aware they were for the majority of this game to prevent Overseas from catching them out and convert it into kills. And I think that's kind of something that Abrahams did extremely well, of just making the moment krill not really useful, not really prevalent in these fights. I mean, the kills that Overseas did get, it was like we saw him catch out Tass in the beginning, get a kill. He caught out Tass again and got the Rejuve Crystal, but couldn't get the follow-up. But the combos after that, I can't remember how many of them actually got kills, but I can't say it was more than just a small handful. I know he's like plus almost 300 HP at the end, but I can't do that calculation off the top of my head.
Yeah, man, just crazy watching Arzo's highlights. So clean with Domini, finding every connection and the team around him. For Leviathan, they just didn't have the tools to be able to take the challenge in these big numbers engagements. And it feels like, for me, the pickoff style, it's so risky. You know, if the lanes are anything less than explosively dominant, it's really hard to get towards that late game. Together was so punishing on the Billy, but it'll be Abrahams going on to face Buffingers, and I can't help but think that they have the better shot to take down the champs here in EU. These two teams, it's one of the oldest clashes in the night shift. I'm really excited to see them go up against one another in our next match.
And for one of, if not the, I mean, you're the CFO here, I think it's the biggest prize pool we've had in night shift, right?
Well, at least for an unsponsored show, certainly the biggest. I think we've probably been around this level before, but yeah, insane support from the community. Really, by the way, thank you everybody for all the donations. Of course, we got to give a huge shout out to Tetsio. If you just joined us, Tetsio dropped $3,000 on the prize pool this week. So ridiculous support from one of our longest time supporters. And now to really give a special prize pool on night shift number 50, it's an amazing thing. So thank you everyone who stuck with us, Prime Sub, watches every week. It all comes together to support the stream, and here we are, man. More than $5,000 on the cards. Night shift number 50. It's a huge milestone for us and a huge milestone for all these players.
You say an unsponsored show, but let's be honest, this is Night Shift number 50, sponsored by Tetsio. I feel like, but it's over 5K. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to find out who's going to win the first half of that prize pool after a break, as Buffingers look to claim it and defend their title once again, as Abrahams look to topple them and finally get the King of Europe back on their names.